Hey guys, it's Willis here, and today we are going on a day hike on the Bruce Trail in beautiful Hamilton, Ontario. The plan for today is to just document my day hike, show some cool waterfalls, we'll be passing a lot of those, and also just to give a little bit of an introduction to who I am, what I'm about, things that I like, and stuff that you can be looking forward to in videos to come. So, let's get out there. Alright, so here's the entrance to the actual trail, right by this road. The Wentworth stairs are just back there. And that is where I get onto the trail, because I live literally right in front of the Wentworth stairs. So, about me. My name is Willis. Or at least that's what I go by to a lot of my friends. So, that's what I chose to go by on YouTube. For those of you who must know, my real name is Andrew. Willis was just a nickname given to me about 11 years ago when I was in grade 8. Yeah, it just kind of stuck with me. If anybody wants to know the story, basically we were playing jackpot. For anybody who doesn't know what that game is, it's where one person has a football or any kind of ball and everybody else stands on the far side of the field, and the person with the ball throws the ball, yells out a certain number or jackpot, and if you get up to what the jackpot number is or catch it on a jackpot, then you become the guy who throws the ball. It's just a stupid game kids play. Anyways, we were playing that, and it was near the end of the recess, and some kid heard my good buddy Justin, as some of you have already seen in my last video. He heard him say Willis a bunch of times. Then he started saying Willis. And then all of a sudden he's like, "Yo Willis, go catch the ball. Go get the ball." Like, we're all standing right beside each other, but he's telling Sonny to go get the ball. And nobody knew who the hell he was talking to. And granted, I'll say this was me at a brand new school. This is my third day at a brand new school. So I was like, you know what, whatever. Fuck it, I'll go catch that ball. So I go catch the ball, and basically from there on out, almost slipped. From there on out, I was known as Willis. Yeah. So, hence Willis. You guys can just call me Willis. So, the hiking plan for today, what I normally do on my day hikes, and you may be asking, Willis, why are you wearing that huge ass backpack and just going on a day hike? And trust me, I get that question a lot, just from random people that I run into on the trail. People look at me weird, but you know what? Screw it. Willis is getting into shape. And I'm not lifting weights and stuff, although I kind of do sometimes, but it's nothing super crazy. I'm not looking to get big and buff and, that kind of stuff. I'm just looking to get better at endurance. My near goal is to complete the La Cloche Silhouette Trail in May. I'm going to be leaving on May 4th, come back on May 9th, which is a total of 5 nights, 6 days. And granted, that's a pretty reasonable time to do that trail. I know a lot of people who've done the trail in 3 days, 4 days. I've heard of people who've even run the trail non-stop, which is crazy in my opinion. But I just want to make sure that I can, because our days are our first day is going to be a 17-kilometer day, followed by a 15, and then the third day is going to be an 8-kilometer day. But regardless, it's going to be a lot of ups and downs. Apparently it's very rugged terrain. So yeah, I just want to make sure I'm in peak physical condition to make sure I can do it day in and day out, because last thing I would want is to be out in the middle of the bush and not be able to get out. My long-term goal, and all of this is going towards what my long-term goal is. And for those of you who don't know me personally, within the last few months, I've gotten incredibly deep into thru hiking. Been watching a lot of videos from a lot of awesome YouTube channels like Homemade Wanderlust, Darwin on the Trail, Nemours World. Damn, there's a lot out there. If you just Google it, you'll find. Ooh, mud. But yeah, so my long-term goal is to hike the Pacific Crest Trail, or PCT, which is obviously on the west coast. It runs from the Mexico border in California all the way up to the BC-Washington border. And it's about, I think it's like 2,700 miles now. So yeah, working towards that. Going under the bridge. There's some garbage down here. Yeah, one thing that sucks about Hamilton section of the Bruce Trail is that there is so much freaking garbage. I know crews come out and clean it, but just people of Hamilton do not treat it with respect in the slightest. Like, I don't know what you can see here, but garbage way up there, garbage over here, garbage all along the side of the road. It's pretty sad. Alright, so more about me. When did I get into camping? I started camping maybe not too long ago, maybe about 3 years ago. Growing up, my family was never super big into the outdoors, and granted still now, none of them are. They all think I'm crazy to go do what I'm doing. Even now, I tell my mom I'm going on just a day hike with my bag. Nothing crazy, I mean, like I'm going maybe like 10 kilometers or so. And she's like, what? You're insane. So, come on. The outdoors is where it's at. And if you live in Canada, especially, well, I can't even say especially Ontario. If you live in Canada in general, because all of Canada is beautiful, and if you don't take advantage of the Canadian outdoors, shame on you. There is nothing better than going out into the middle of nowhere, or even in the middle of somewhere. Like, look where I am. I'm out, walking amongst the trees, getting some exercise, breathing in that fresh air, getting a little of that armpit sweat. Now, this is the life. So, back to me starting camping. About 3 years ago, actually 4 years ago, a couple of my friends were really into kayaking. We started cottaging around that time and doing a lot of like kayaking, canoeing up north. So I decided to buy a kayak. The following summer, I decided to take it to the next level, because I got sick and tired of just going out. Like, as fun as it is to go out for the day and just paddle or a few hours, it was way more fun to go out and camp somewhere. And that way you can go out the whole day and come back to your campsite, chill, and go out the whole day the next day. And it doesn't even matter because you have nowhere else to go. And I'm speaking about car camping. So, it was probably summer of 2016 where I started just car camping frequently. I'd try to go like every other weekend or so. And then near the end of that summer, I started watching the videos of the amazing Joe Robinette. And if you have not checked out Joe Robinette, check him out, he is awesome. And I think the first video I ever watched was, if anybody knows who he is, the video with him and Doug backpacking on the Highland backpacking trail in Algonquin. And after watching that, I knew that backcountry camping was for me. Immediately after watching that video, I booked my first backcountry trip on the Western Uplands backpacking trail. I had not really watched too many videos of this trail because I wanted to keep it fresh for me. I wanted to keep it a surprise. My plan, and thing is, when I first got into it, none of my friends were interested. It wasn't until after my first trip that I actually got them to book in, but I'll get into that in a little bit. So, my first trip was a solo trip, and for anybody who knows that particular area, I was just planning on doing the inner loop of the Western Uplands backpacking trail in 2 nights, 3 days, which, you know, isn't reasonable. I mean, which is reasonable. It's not a big feat. I think it's only like 35 kilometers. And and also keep in mind that this was my first time before this trip. Like, I watched Joe's video, and then I booked my trip, and then I went out and bought all my gear. I was quite rushed to buy all my gear. I maybe had like 2 weeks. I just did it spur of the moment like that. I can't say I went out and got the best gear, because for one, I was a little bit less financially stable back then, although I'm pretty not financially stable right now. But yeah, I went and got a lot of cheaper gear, cheaper stuff off Amazon, cheaper stuff from like Canadian Tire, Walmart. Some of that stuff I still use today. A lot of that stuff I don't. So with that being said, I didn't have the best gear loadout going out there, especially to deal with wet conditions. And that being said, my first day out was fantastic. Nice and warm. Keep in mind this is at the end of August was my first trip. So it was nice and warm, the bugs weren't too bad. At night got down a little cool, but you know, cool enough to where I was comfortable. I wasn't freezing my butt off. It was good. But the next day, and they were not forecasting for thunder showers all day long. But I wake up to pouring rain, and I was thinking, well, you know, I have like 15 kilometers to get to my next campsite. The day before I did a good job. I walked about 11 or 12K in about like 3 hours or so. So I was thinking, you know what, I can do 15, even if it takes me 4 hours. It's not a big deal. But the rain sucked. Mostly because I wasn't ready to deal with it. Me stupidly, not even thinking about it, didn't get a rain cover for my rucksack. And I got a cheap one, you know, from, if anybody knows the store, Mountain Warehouse. And not to rag on Mountain Warehouse, but they don't sell the highest quality stuff. It's great if you want to get into it, see if you like it. They have decent quality gear. Some of the stuff I still use myself. This sweater, don't know if you can tell, no, probably not. Mountain Warehouse. I like it. But my rucksack wasn't the highest quality. But you know what, to their defense, it was never advertised as waterproof, so I should have thought of that. Willis is stupid. Alright, so here we are back on the trail, right next to the lovely Niagara Escarpment, and with a view of downtown Hamilton. We're now on the far side of downtown Hamilton, almost out of it, and then we'll be into the Westdale area. So, back to my story. Just a little recap in case y'all forgot. which probably wouldn't because I'm gonna cut it down. It's gonna be like a second later. Anyways, I'm an idiot. Regardless, the first day, amazing. Slept, woke up, thunder showers all day, completely unexpected. I wake up and my tent is soaked, and not on the inside, you know, just on the outside obviously, but once I start packing up, and I didn't have a good pack set up at the time, so my tent was supposed to go inside my bag, and the way I had it set up was my tent was gonna be like the first thing in my bag, which meant that I'd basically have to leave everything outside of my tent while I pack up my tent and put my tent in my bag, leaving all my other stuff to get completely freaking soaked. And also, me being stupid, didn't think to bring a microfiber towel to dry off anything. Regardless of those facts, I thought, you know, because I still had maybe like 26 kilometers to get out of the park that day. If I wanted to leave and not sleep another night. So I had all the intentions of making it to my next campsite and just sleeping the night and toughing out the wetness, trying to dry it off, I don't know, with some clothes I have or whatever. So I set off, I pack up, all my shit's soaked, but I'm still in good spirits. Walking, having a good time. I stopped for lunch, and miraculously when I'm stopping for lunch, the rain stops. It was awesome. Then obviously once I get going again, rain starts again. And then, so in all, from the day, I was probably hiking about 6 hours to where I got to where my campsite was supposed to be. And so again, if anybody knows that area, I was doing the inner loop in a counterclockwise motion, so my last campsite was supposed to be at Maple Leaf North. For me, being an idiot, the whole trip, I was thinking I'm supposed to stop at Maple Leaf South. So obviously I'm walking in the rain, I pass Maple Leaf North to get to South, and then just wanting to make sure I check my permit, and sure enough, I'm on the wrong side of the lake. Not wanting to take anybody's campsite or walk back to the other side of the lake, I decided to just trek it out the next 4 kilometers or 4 or 5 kilometers out of there. And me thinking, well, hey, you know, I've done about 4 kilometers an hour, it'll only be another hour to the car. Well, sure, maybe if it's good conditions. Granted, going in that direction, it's all downhill, so if you're going uphill, it takes a lot longer. Or you're going like clockwise, it takes a little bit longer. But yeah, no, it took me maybe about 2 hours, and I finally made it back. I could not walk. All I remember is putting my rucksack in the trunk of my car, and I had some random garbage like a Timmy's cup and some water bottles in my ooh, it's a cool little thing. The stuff you see on the escarpment. Anyways, I make it back to the car and I am completely sore. I was walking like with a gimp walk. I'm not even gonna, I could show you in front of camera, maybe I'll do that when I get home and I'll edit it in. I doubt it. But also I remember like trying to drive my car, like I'm lifting up my arms to try and grab the steering wheel, and I could barely lift them up high enough to grab the steering wheel. So, long story short, that was a fantastic first trip in Algonquin. One thing I've heard before, I forget who it is, there's this seasoned long distance hiker. And he said there are 3 types of trips. I can't remember what the third one is. But 2 main ones. The first one, trips that are a breeze and are fun while you're out there, but they're not necessarily fun to talk about when you come back. And then there are those trips that are in no way whatsoever fun while they're out there. But oddly enough, when you look back at it, it turns out to be a lot of fun. This brings me to my second Algonquin trip. And now, this brings us to my second Algonquin trip. So for my second Algonquin trip, leaving out all the amazing details of my first trip that, you know, may have influenced my friends to not want to come, told them how amazing it was. You know, you're out in the middle of nowhere, no cell service, it's completely private, it's the best kind of camping ever. And my friends also were into, you know, paddling at the time. There we go, it's better light. My friends were also into paddling at the time, so we decided to go on a portage trip. So, again, I went out and I planned my next Algonquin trip as a portage trip. And we planned it, we kind of overestimated our abilities, and I say that lightly. First off, me and my friend Justin, well, as you know, I have a kayak, and so does my friend Justin. So we insisted on bringing our kayaks to Algonquin on this portage trip, which sounded like an amazing idea at first. The main issue was that neither of us were able to put our bags in our kayaks because, you know, we have these gigantic, I didn't have this bag at the time, I had a different bag, but this bag's still pretty big, can't fit in my kayak. Regardless, we had Ian. He was in a canoe because he wanted to be in a canoe. He prefers canoes. Ian's the canoe guy in the group. And Ian insisted that he would be perfectly fine in the canoe by himself with 3 people's baggage. And you know what? I can't give Ian too much flack because he hauled his ass that entire trip. So the plan was to go from Canoe Lake up into, I think it was Timberwolf, and then the next day we would go up into the Tim River all the way to Shippagoo, and then the next day after that we'd go down into Burnt Island. So for any of you Algonquin people don't know where that is, pull out your Algonquin maps and look it up. Doing it in that amount of time is not impossible. It is long days, which is what we had, but it's also long days if you're moving full speed. And unfortunately Ian was not able to move full speed with 3 bags in his canoe. So we realized on the first day we were not going to be able to go through with our trip plan. So luckily we found a free site at McIntosh, and this was at the end of September, so it was not super busy there. It wasn't that big of a deal if we took a random campsite, which we ended up doing for the whole trip because we never stayed at one campsite we planned at. It was, the thing that broke us was that 2,300 meter portage into McIntosh from, I think it's Tom Thompson. And that was brutal. Mostly because we go through our first portage ever, which is at the Canoe Lake to Joe Lake, which is a 300 meter. It's very much like this, very flat, wide. It's an amazing portage, and it really makes you think you're amazing when you do it for the first time. And then you get to a real portage, and you're humbled. Which is what happened to us. That 2,300 meter portage, I was thinking, you know, like we can usually hike, like I said, 4 kilometers in about an hour. So even if this takes us double the amount of time that it should, we'll do it in an hour. It ended up taking us 2.5 hours. Mostly because, also because Ian was in a solo canoe, his was heavier than it should have been. So he had like a 50-pound canoe, and he was barely able to carry that by himself. So what we ended up doing is we would piggyback. So we'd take our bags and my kayak together, and then we would go back for the canoe. And yeah, that trip was not a lot of fun to, you know, go through, but it's a lot of fun to talk about now. Luckily we didn't get any rain on that trip until our last day when we were on the way out. It was literally the last lake on Canoe Lake. We had our last paddle out in the rain, and you know, we were just so happy to get out. But again, we were paddling 8 to 9 hours every day, barely getting to camp before dark. For our first trip, it was a pain in the ass, but it was amazing to look back on it. And to this day, me, Justin, and Ian, we get together and we just talk about that trip. And we plan future trips. So, me and Ian are going to be doing the La Close Trail. He was never really into backpacking. I guess I kind of talked him into it. And then our next big trip, we're gonna be redoing our first trip plan, which will be from Canoe up to the Tim and then all the way back down. But we will do it in a couple more days. Granted, this time we all will have our own boats. Like, I'm gonna be renting a pack boat, so I'm gonna be able to put my bag in my boat. We'll be moving at a good speed. But we also want to go out, we have the time. We want to go out, enjoy it, and have fun. Because as fun as it is to just go and power out the distance sometimes, it's also fun to just go and enjoy yourself. My camera's all tilted. Get it right, Willis. Get it right. Alright, so back on the trail after that quick little refuel. Feels so much better. Anyways, so some of you may be wondering, Willis, what do you do for a living? Which makes you be able to take some time off and go camping every, couple weekends or whatever. That's what I'm going to try to do so I can keep posting videos and making stuff relevant. Or making myself relevant, basically. Also, let me know if you guys want. I'll do gear videos. I have plenty of gear over the last 3 years that I have bought that I would be glad to review. And if any of you have stuff that you may want me to review, let me know. Maybe I'll check it out. Maybe it's something I'm interested in. I'll buy it and I can do a review. Oh, and one thing to know about me is I go on a lot of tangents, so there'll be a lot of times where I'll be talking about one thing, like a minute ago, and then I switch to something, real quick about like what I'm gonna do with my videos. So, anyways, back to what I was saying, what I do for my living. I am a professional drug dealer. Yes, you heard that right. My official term is a pharmacy assistant, so my job entails of talking to angry, sick people, filling medications for angry, sick people, and getting yelled at by angry, sick people. And there are the odd occasions with customers that are fantastic. Like, I have a lot of my customers that I love talking to when they come in, and a lot who are actually supportive of what I'm doing right now. And it is amazing. And to that, you guys are the best customers ever. And I don't even consider you my customers, you are my friends. And here we are at the site of our first waterfall of the trip. It's right back there somewhere. Yeah, let's go like this. Yeah, no, let's go like this. It's right back in there. You may be able to, right there, see some water coming through. Yeah, that's where it is. They all have names. I don't know the names of any of them, other than a couple. Nuns. There are no nuns that we will see on this trip today, but none of the ones we will see on the trip today, none of the waterfalls, I know what the names are of. That's real good English, Willis. If you can hear my phone going off now, it's telling me that we just reached the 5-kilometer mark. And we are officially past downtown. I don't know if you can see it through the trees over there, but it's back there. Now we're right beside the Shadok Golf Course. Yeah, so there's no loop that I'm doing today. It's literally just into whenever I feel like and then back. My original plan was to do 10K today, just because I'm on a little bit of a time constraint. I don't know when I'm going to be posting this video, but the day it's being filmed is Easter Saturday. Hence why I'm doing this on my own. None of my family, or none of my friends are able to come out. And none of my family, like I got into earlier, are willing to come out, because they're all just a bunch of non-outdoorsy pansies. Sorry, love you, Mom. It is 1:49. I have to be home by 4 o'clock at the latest. So, yeah, I'll probably walk another kilometer. So look at that. I have to stop and take a picture of this later. But yeah, I'm gonna have to stop or turn around in a bit and go home.
Workout pause.
Here are a couple waterfalls. Again, don't know what the name of these are, but that mineral stone, that red stuff. Could be wrong, but what that is, that's just what I think it is. Don't judge me. This creek coming from there. There's another waterfall up there. Frankly, I'm too lazy to walk up there now. So we're at 5.56 kilometers, which will put me at about an 11-kilometer day for the day. An hour and a half in. I should probably get home. Again, this is not me tapping out. I have plans. It's Easter today, so I have family coming over. We're gonna be barbecuing. I'm doing some steak, I'm doing some ribs, and that's all on me. So I have to make sure I'm home in time, showered and ready before everybody comes over. Plus, I'd like to take a little puff or two, if you know what I mean. Don't do that, kids. Alright, so I'm going to turn off the camera for a bit, and I'm going to mish it back as far as I can. And if I think of anything else to say to the camera, I will. So far it's been a good hike. I've worked up quite an appetite. I honestly don't know how many ribs I'm gonna eat tonight. It's probably gonna be some obscene number, but granted, usually I eat an obscene number of ribs anyways, so nothing that special. Coming up on the road down there, almost done the hike. And there are the stairs in front of me, aka the worst part of the trail. I'll see you guys after I'm at the top. Probably gonna be all winded and out of breath. What did I say? I was gonna be out of breath. No matter how many times I do it, it never gets easier. Well, thanks for joining me today. If there's anything else about me you'd like to know, just put a comment in the comments downstairs. No, put a comment down, you know, down where comments go. Let me know how you liked it. If there's anything else you'd like to change, or you'd like me to change, or anything else you'd like to see. God, it's hard to speak while I'm out of breath. Anyways, random sign off. Peace out.